Hey there, this is John Lexo from Pro Tutorials, and in this video I'm going to show to you how to make a sweet ass thumbnail for your YouTube videos. And this is something that I started paying more attention about a week ago. I decided to change most of the thumbnails on my YouTube videos, and since then I noticed that I started receiving more viewers and also more subscribers to my YouTube channel. So having good thumbnails for your videos really makes a huge difference because it attracts more people to watching your videos. So the thumbnail that I'm going to explain today is I'm going to explain how you can make a thumbnail similar to the ones that you can see on my YouTube channel. And these are my new ones. As you can see, they have a really attractive headline. They're really catchy. And these are my older ones. And you can see a really huge difference between these ones to these ones. I mean, these ones simply attract more people to watching my content compared to these ones. So the thumbnail that I'm going to do today is this one, how to set up W3 total cache. And once you understand the techniques which I've applied to make this thumbnail, it's basically always the same thing. I use the same technique for all of the thumbnails over here, and you can pretty much get creative and do whatever you want using the techniques that I'm going to explain. So when it comes to this, there are a few things that you must have if you want to get, for example, free images for your thumbnails. Then you can go to this website called pixabay.com, and you can get plenty of free images with no copyrights. And I always recommend for you to use images with no copyrights because you certainly don't want to run into problems later on for having copyright content inside of your videos or even in your thumbnails. So you can go to this website, and the other thing that you may want to do is get a font for your thumbnail if you still don't have one. So what you can do is you go to Google and you search for free fonts, and over here you can see a listing of websites which offer free fonts, and you can choose one of these websites. In this case, I just went to this first one. And when it comes to fonts, I suggest for you to use a font for your thumbnails, something that is easy for people to read. As you can see on my thumbnails, this font that I'm using is really easy for people to read. So don't use something that is complicated. For example, this font over here. I mean, it might even look nice, but honestly, when it comes to thumbnails being an image that is really small, it will be hard for people to be able to read the topic of your video. So those are the few things that I suggest for you to get. And also the last one is Photoshop. I know that Photoshop is not a completely free software. However, you can always go to their website, which is photoshop.com, and you can get a 30-day free trial. So during 30 days, you can do the thumbnails that you want or the images that you want for your videos. Try the software and see if you like it. I consider Photoshop one of the best editing and image creating softwares that you can find out there, and I really enjoy it. So in this video, I'm going to use Photoshop to do my thumbnails, and later on I might actually do an alternative video explaining how you can use a completely free software to do for you to do thumbnails for your YouTube channel. But for now, I'm just going to use Photoshop. Now, the thing that I need for this thumbnail is to get an image from Pixabay. So the image that I used was from a rocket. And so once I search for rocket, you can see that I get related images, which I can use freely for my thumbnails. And I guess it's in the second page. Okay, it's this image over here. So I'm just going to click on it, and now I'm just going to do a free download. And in this case, I'm just going to choose a medium size for this image, but you can choose other sizes, but medium size is pretty much all that you need. So I'm just going to press download so I can download this image to my computer. And now let's pass to Photoshop so I can start doing my thumbnail. When you first enter in Photoshop, you probably will see your windows displayed in a different way compared to mine, and that's just because I already moved things around, so it may look a bit different. Anyway, the thing that you first want to do is you want to create a new layer so you can start working on your thumbnail. For you to do that, you go to the File tab, you click on it, and you choose New. Now once this window appears, you want to put the right sizes for your thumbnail. And the ones that I recommend are exactly these ones. For width, you want 1280 pixels. Make sure that you're in pixels and not something else. And for height, you want 720 pixels. So once you have these sizes, you want to press OK, and you can see that a new window appears. And I'm just going to place this more in the center so I can work with it more easily. Now the thing that you want to do is you want to unlock this layer so you can start working on it. So for you to do that, you can see that you have the layers window appearing. In my case, it's right below. But if you don't have this window appearing, what you need to do is you go to the tab that says window and make sure that you check layers. Once you do, this window will appear. Okay, you can see that you have on the layer window, in this case this is the background, you have a small locker. You want to double click on it. Once you do it, you can see that this window appears and you just press OK. Okay, so now this layer is unlocked and I can start working at it. The first thing I want to do is just fill this layer with the color that I want. And in this case, I'm going to fill it with a dark blue. So make sure that you are choosing the bucket, because the bucket allows you to fill a whole space with the color that you want. And now you go below, you can see that you have two small squares appearing, and the first square appearing is the primary color that you are using. Then the second square is the secondary color. So you can pretty much just change things around depending on the color that you want to use. So I'm going to choose the first square, click on it, and this window appears. And in this window, you can pretty much choose whatever color that you want to use. So in this case, it's a dark blue. I'm not certain if this is exactly the blue that I used previously for my thumbnail, but I'm just going to choose one which is similar. So let's just choose this one. Press OK once you are done. And once again, make sure that you are choosing the right bucket, the bucket option. And now you just need to click on your layer, just like this. And you can see that it fills everything with the color that you want. Okay, so now I'm going to add my headline for my thumbnail. But the first thing I want to do is I want to include a small line appearing on my side, which allows me later on to align my text more easily. So for me to do that, you can see that you have a ruler appearing on the side of your window, and you simply want to click on it. And once you click on it, you can see that you can drag a line inside of your layer. This line later on allows me to align all of my text to the left side of my screen. Okay, so once you have that done, what you want to do is start writing the title for your thumbnail. You can see that you have this small T icon, which you want to click on it, and this allows you to include text inside of your image. And the first thing you want to do is choose the right options for your text. You can see that on the top section now I have several options which I can alter, and the first thing I'm going to choose is the font family that I want to use. So I just click on this tab, and in this case it's timeline. So you want to choose your font, and then you want to choose the size for your font. So you can click on this arrow, or you can select this value over here and put a custom size, but in this case I'm just going to leave it 100 pixels. And now on the last square, you want to choose the color that you want to use for your font. So in this case I want to use white. Once you have that done, you just click on the place where you want to insert your text. You can see that a cursor appears, and now I just need to write whatever I want. So in this case I want to write how to set up. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. Now I'm going to include the other two lines. So in this case it's W3 total, and in this case I'm going to increase the size a bit for this to 120 pixels. And also I'm going to change the color for my font. And the one that I used was yellow. So I'm going to select yellow, and now I'm going to write what I want, which is W3 total cash. And you can see that with this font, I guess they don't have numbers included inside of this font family. So what happens is it changes to another font family. So what I need to do is I'm going to select this number, and I'm going to increase the size a bit to 180 pixels. I'm going to select total, and I'm going back to the original font that I was using previously, which is Timeline. Okay, that is done. Now I'm going to include the last line, which is cash. Just like this. Okay, so now I'm going to align everything to the left side of my layer, and make sure that you are choosing the right layer which you want to work with. So in this case, I have the cash layer selected, and you can see that on my screen I have this small squares appearing on the edge, which allows me to increase or decrease the size of my test if I want it. And also make sure that you have this arrow icon selected, because you need that so you can move things around inside of your image. So I'm just going to use the arrows on my keyboard so I can align the test the way that I want. Now I'm going to do the same thing for W3 total. I'm going to try to center things. Doesn't mean that it's spaced equally. And I'm going to do the same thing to how to set up. Okay, so once that is done, now we are going to add some effects to the test. For you to include some effects to your font, what you want to do is choose the layer that you want to work with, and then you want to double click on it. And you can see that this new window appears, and on this window you have several effects that you can include on your test. But in this case, I'm just going to include the first one, which is bevel and emboss. And it seems like the test is popping out from the image, and it gives a good effect. Now you can change the options if you want, and in this case I'm just going to put 50%. So I'm going to reduce it from 100 to 50%, and I'm just going to press OK. So for the first line, that's the only thing that I do. Now I'm going to the second line and basically do the same thing. I'm going to add bevel, and I'm going to reduce it to 50%. Now the difference here is I'm going to include also an outer glow for this one. So I'm going to include an outer glow, and once I select it, you can see that you have also other options which you can choose from. Blend mode, you want to choose normal. Opacity, I'm going to put 100%. And over here you can choose the color that you want. So in this case I'm going to choose white. But if you want, you can choose another color depending how you want your test to appear. And now I'm going to put spread. I'm going to put 100%. And size, I'm going to put 10 pixels. And you can see that now I have a white border appearing on my letters. And now I'm going to do what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this layer by selecting on it and clicking with the right mouse button. And you can see that this window appears, and I'm going to duplicate this layer just like this. And you can see that now I have a copy of the same layer appearing on the tops over here on the top. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to select it, double click on it. I'm going to outer glow once again. And now what I'm going to do is, instead of having white, I'm going to include black. And now what I'm going to do is, on size, I'm going to decrease to 4 pixels. What you can see is, now I have a white border, but I also have a smaller black border around my letters. And this allows people to see my test more easily. Now I'm going to do the same thing for cache. So I'm going to cache and I'm going to give it a bit more quickly, a few effects to cache. So I'm going to do this a bit more quickly. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is optional. You don't need to do it if you don't want to, but I'm going to include a black background only where I have my test, and that will make my test more visible. So for me to do that, I go to the last layer, which is this one. I'm going to click on it so I can select it, and I'm going to press the create new layer option, which is this icon. And you can see that now I have a new layer which is completely empty appearing right above the first layer. Now I want to choose this option because this option allows me to select a portion where I want to, in this case, turn it black. So I'm just going to select a rectangle. I'm just going to create a rectangle, and this is the area which I want to paint with the bucket tool black. So I'm going to choose the bucket, and you can see that above I have white selected has my first color, but I'm going to click on this arrow so I can select the second color, which is black. And I'm going to just paint this area with black, as you can see. Once you have that done, you want to click on the magic wand option, and you just double click on your image so you can select everything. Now it's basically the same thing as I did previously with my test. I want to simply align things just like this. And now I'm going to do the same thing for all of my tests. So I'm going to include this black background for all of the tests you can see over here. So I'm going to duplicate this layer just by doing this. And I'm going to drag it and drop on top. And as you can see, you must have this small arrow selected so you can see these small squares appearing on the side. And you want to click on this arrow, and once you do that, you can increase the size of this box a bit. Just like this. So once you have that done, I'm going to do the same thing for the layer appearing on the top. So once again, I click on the magic wand so I can select it. I'm going to duplicate it. I'm going to duplicate this layer and do the same thing. Click on this arrow so I can move this box around and basically do exactly the same thing. Okay, so we have this almost done. Now the only thing that I need to do is include my image inside of this thumbnail. Okay, so for me to include the image that I want inside of my thumbnail, what I need to do is I need to choose File, and I need to press Open. And then you need to choose the image from your computer, the one that you want to use. And in this case, it's this one, Rocket. And I just click on it, and as you can see, it opens up. And I'm pretty sure that this image is really big, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to increase this window a bit, and you can see once again you have these small squares appearing on the side. What you want to do is you want to click on this. I'm going to click on this small square. I'm going to press shift button, so press the shift button so you can keep everything in proportion. And I'm going to reduce the size a bit. Okay, so once that is done, I'm going to click once again on this arrow. I'm going to apply the transformation. And I'm going to, where you see the window with your layers, you want to click on the layer, and you simply want to drag it to the window that appears, in this case, on the bottom, below, I mean. You can see that now I have my image inside of my thumbnail. And once again, this is way too big, so I'm basically going to do the same thing, going to reduce the size a bit until I have everything the way that I want. Okay, so once this is done, I'm going to apply transformation. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to include some effects on this image. So for me to do that, I'm going to double click on my image layer, and in this case I'm just going to add an outer glow. So I'm going to basically do the same thing that I did with my test, and I'm going to add opacity maximum. I'm going to include the white color, going to spread a bit, and that's pretty much everything that I'm going to do over here. Okay, so as you can see, I basically have my thumbnail done. The only thing that I need to do now is simply save it on my computer. So I'm going to File, and I'm going to select Save As, and you can save it wherever you want. I recommend for you to save it as JPEG because this has higher quality when it comes to image, and you can give any name that you want. So rocket thumbnail. And the last part is simply going to your YouTube channel and uploading your thumbnail so you can start using on your video. So that's how you can do a crazy and a sweet ass thumbnail for your YouTube videos. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like, please subscribe so you can receive my weekly video updates where I talk about WordPress, how to make money online, how to do search engine optimization, and a lot more. So stay there and stay tuned with Tutorials, and bye.
I said a little